y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So I just wanted to come on here this Friday to tell you a story about the time that I went to Ireland and Scotland and other countries in Europe, and how my dreams and hopes were crushed, thrown on the ground, and stomped on. Not clickbait. So, I was going on a Europe trip last summer with some friends from school, and so we were going to Ireland, then Scotland, then Wales, and then England. So we were there for 2 weeks, so it was really fast paced, and we got a lot done, but it was a lot of driving, a lot of doing, not a whole lot of downtime, although we did get some downtime to explore the areas that we were in for like a couple hours at a time, or like in the evenings. Anyway, we landed in Ireland, We landed in Ireland, and when I signed up for this trip, I signed up 2 years in advance, I think, because I was doing payments to pay for it. And when I signed up for this trip, I was like, wow. I graduated from high school last year, so I went on this trip after I graduated, and I was like, wow, I'm graduating high school, I'm going to be going to college in the fall, this is going to be the trip that awakens me, because I'd never been out of the country before, and I have red hair, obviously, so I was like, I'm going to go to Ireland and Scotland, and I'm just going to be in my element, like I'm going to be home. Other people are going to have red hair. If I get lost, no one's going to be able to find me immediately in the crowd. I thought it was just going to be the coolest thing in the whole world. I would like take pictures with these redheads that I would see on the street, be like, hey, my name's Natalie, I'm from America, and we don't have a whole lot of ginger people, so can I just take a picture with all you guys, like right here for one quick second? Like, that's how I thought it was gonna be. And I thought I was gonna be posting all these pictures on my Instagram with me, with other ginger people, and be like, I'm home. But let me just tell you, we landed in Ireland, and Ireland was the country that we stayed in the longest, so we were there for 5 days, I think. 5 days. And we landed in Ireland at the airport. There was no redheads at the airport. So then I'm like, well, airports, they got people coming in and out, So a lot of these people, like myself, probably don't live here. So, even the employees didn't have red hair, and obviously the employees would have had to live in Ireland, but I was giving them a pass, I was like, well, not all Irish people are going to have red hair, and, the proportion of people living in Ireland to people working in this airport is very small, so if they don't all have red hair, or if none of them have red hair, it's probably not that huge of a deal. Okay. I get out of the airport, and Shannon's a small town, so I was like, well, maybe there's not a lot of people here, so not a lot of them will have red hair. We go around, and we're walking the streets and stuff, and there's no redheaded people in Ireland. What kind of sick joke is that? Really? What kind of joke? So, and we're there for 5 days, okay? We're in Ireland for 5 days, and I see literally a total of 5 ginger people, and all of them were tourists. All of them were tourists, and I could tell that because tourists go usually in the tour groups, so they were all in tour groups, so I knew that they were tourists. Yes, and I know I'm not, my Irish ancestry is a lot further back than I had originally thought, because I had originally thought that my great-grandmother's parents or grandparents were from Ireland and immigrated to America. But I did a family genealogy project last semester for school, and found out that that was not the case. So it's a lot farther back than I originally thought. But there's no redheaded people in Ireland. So then I was like, well, maybe Ireland is stereotypically the place where red hair comes from. I was like, maybe I'll have better luck in Scotland. Like maybe Scotland's where it's at. So after Ireland, after we were there for 5 days, we went to Scotland. And in Scotland, we were there maybe 4 days. I want to say 4 days. Because we were only in Wales for a day. It was also 4 days in England. Yeah. So anyway, I get to Scotland. Same thing. Same exact thing. There's no red-headed people in Scotland. And I was like, I knew that there was like 1 or 2% of people in the world have red hair. But I thought that it was mainly like the concentration in Scotland and Ireland was going to be huge. And it wasn't. Now granted, I didn't go to the Scottish Highlands. So my experience of Scotland is like southern Scotland, where Dublin is and stuff like that. So I could be wrong. Maybe there's a lot of ginger people in the Highlands, in which case, please let me know so I can go there and see for myself and have the experience that I really wanted. So I was there for 4 days and again saw very few redhead people, and it was just literally the worst. Like the trip was not what I expected at all, and that's the reason why. Like everything else about the trip was like spectacular, awesome, so much fun, but just the fact that there was no redheaded people just really hurt my heart. But I got a lot of compliments from the Irish and the Scots, especially the older people that live there. I'm not sure if they were more emotionally attached to redheads because there was more in older generations, or maybe older people just like to talk to younger people more and they're more open to conversation than younger people are. But I got a lot of compliments, so that made me feel good. But yeah, no gingers in Ireland or Scotland. I feel like that should be a PSA for any redhead who wants to make the pilgrimage to Ireland and Scotland. It's just not, it's not happening. I cannot express how sad I was, honestly. I mean, but yeah, so that was awesome. Other travel stories though in that trip, it was a lot of fun. I went through EF tours, like I said, with some friends from school, and we had a blast. The link to my girl Carly's vlog on the trip is gonna be in the description of this video. The thumbnail is me eating a bagel. So that's fun. Other travel stories though, it was a lot of fun. We went to Ireland. We did some Irish dancing at the House Party Pub, which was super duper fun, even though I was really bad at it. We also went to Killarney and Kilkenny, and the Ring of Kerry was really fun. We saw sheep being herded by border collies, and I have a border collie, so it was really fun, and it made me miss my dog because they looked similar. That was the main things that we did in Ireland, and then we went to Scotland. We went around Dublin. We did a lot of like architecture, building stuff there. I remember we saw some statues, and there was this guy on like the side of the road playing bagpipes in a kilt, and you could hear him as you were walking down the road, and I was like, this is what Scotland is, you know? It was a lot of fun. And then after Scotland, we went to Wales, and by the time we got to Wales, we were about a week and a couple days into the trip, so a little over halfway through, and I was never jet lagged or anything like that because I pretty much slept most of the plane ride from America to Ireland, other than when there was food, I would eat and then go back to sleep. So I honestly wasn't jet lagged, but at that point in the trip, because we had flown so far and because we were just going nonstop, I was so tired, like incredibly tired. And I feel bad for how I treated Wales because we went to Snowdonia, like that's the place that we went to in Wales, and I slept on the bus pretty much the whole time, other than they stopped the bus and let us get off at one point to take a picture because it was exceptionally pretty in that point, I guess, because the whole thing was pretty. Like, it was gorgeous. Snowdonia was. And we saw some people were mountain climbing on the in Snowdonia, and that was really interesting to see, but also really scary. You could see like little dots of people. It was just one group that we saw, so it was like the landscape and like 3 dots of the people that were climbing, and I was like, I'm really scared for those people. But it was gorgeous. I'm really sad that I slept through it. I'm definitely gonna have to go back again to see it, hopefully. So after Wales, we went to England and we stayed there for the duration of the trip. Let's see, we went on the London Eye, and our tour guide from EF Tours that was with us for the whole trip, he's scared of heights. And also, he's a soap opera actor, so that was cool. We met someone sort of famous. Yeah, so he was scared of heights, so he was completely terrified of the London Eye, but he had to do it, and he did it because we were doing it. Then we went around London. We didn't really get to do much. We just explored independently. So we did a couple things. Some people saw plays, and some people did other things. Then the London and England part ended, and my friends flew home. But my aunt was also on the trip because EF Tours is an educational tour company, so it's teachers and their students, or in our case, recent graduates that get to go. She taught at my school the year before, and she left that year, but she had already signed up for it and everything. So she went. We stayed behind while everybody else went back home. So we stayed for a couple days because in college she studied in Canterbury, so she had always wanted to go back, but she never did. So when we were going to England, we had already decided that we were going to stay. We were going to see some of the places that she saw because she wanted to revisit. I'd never been out of the country before, so I wanted to see as much as possible as well. Plus, I love to travel. So obviously, I definitely wanted to stay too. So we stayed in Canterbury for a couple days. We saw the cathedral. We went to a tea shop and had a tea party. We also went to Dover Castle, and there we saw teams from The Amazing Race at Dover Castle the same time we were there. And I love The Amazing Race, and I was looking, and you know, they have to do the challenges and stuff. Well, this guy was dressed up in the World War uniform because the castle was significant during the World Wars. So he was dressed up in the uniform, but they were like walking around like they weren't, you could tell that they didn't work there, or it made me like look at him because nobody else was dressed that way. Like the people that worked there, I mean, they were dressed up, but they weren't in like they were in costume, but it wasn't as like detailed, if you know what I mean. Like it stood out. So I was like, that's really strange. Why is he dressed like that? And so I was looking at him, and about the same time, my aunt also saw them. It was the guy and a girl, and they were walking, and all of a sudden we're looking at them, and the girl has something in her hand that we can see because she's a little bit farther, they're farther off. Anyway, we see the yellow envelope in her hand, and we're like, is that from The Amazing Race? Like, we both said that at the same time. We're like, are they on The Amazing Race right now? And so we like tried to get a little bit closer, and we were like, oh, they're on The Amazing Race right now. I was like, what if the host is here? What if we are on TV on The Amazing Race? We didn't see, the camera crew was a bit behind them, so we saw the group first, and then when they got closer to us and we could see what they actually were, the camera crew was there and everything. So we were like, well, we finished what we were saying because we were almost done. So we finished what we were saying, and we're like, we don't really have a plan while we're here. So let's just go follow this Amazing Race team. And I know you're probably not supposed to do that, but we weren't close or anything. Like, we were far away, and eventually we lost them because they had a little bit of a head start on us. Plus they were racing, so they were obviously going faster than we were. So after we had finished what we were doing, we had tried to follow them, and we saw them for a little bit, but then we lost them. And then we were trying to see if we could find other teams or like maybe see the host somewhere. And so we took a long shot. We knew they wouldn't tell us, but we asked some of the workers, like the custodial or like the people who were keeping up with the place, and like running it. We were asking them, because we said that we saw the Amazing Race team, and we were wondering how many teams were there, was the host there, blah, blah, blah. And all the workers were like, we're not supposed to discuss it. Like, they weren't supposed to act like it was happening. But actually, we had went out to eat, like, lunch before we went to Dover Castle, but it was, like, nearby. And this guy was talking about how these helicopters had flown into Dover Castle, and he was wondering, like, what it could be. And we were like, well, we're heading there, so I guess we'll find out maybe. And we did. That's what it was. So, yeah, we followed them for a bit, but then we lost them. So then we were trying to find another team, and we couldn't find any. And then by that point, I think everybody was gone because we realized it and like ran into these people near the end. So we did that, and then it was time for us to go. Sad face. We went back to America, got caught up on some sleep, and I already wanted to do it all over again the next day. Honestly, I was really tired and was thankful for the rest, but I really wanted to stay there and continue to travel. My first time out of the country, the travel bug really hit me, so I just want to continue exploring, and yeah, maybe my dreams and hopes won't be crushed like they were in Scotland and Ireland, anywhere else I go. There is a Redheaded Festival in Holland, and it's in September. And September is the literal worst time that it could be, because, I mean, I guess it's good for the people who live in Holland, but for me it's not good because it's not during the summer. So I can't just like take off school and go, so I have to wait a while to be able to go, like until I get a job or something, which is going to be years from now. But hopefully I'll go there, and then my hope in humanity and reality will be restored. I enjoyed telling the story. It helped me kind of relive my trip and get me even more excited about the next one that will hopefully be soon. I'm trying really hard. Shout out to my peeps who went on the trip with me. Please like and subscribe, and watch out for my video next week. And don't forget that the link to Carly's vlog for our trip is in the description. See y'all later.